Welcome to Nonprofit Network, powered by Stokes Auction Group. We are a podcast focused on benefit auctions and fundraising events for the nonprofit community. We are a group of fundraising professionals that specialize in raising funds to improve communities of all sizes. Here it is. We're doing another episode of the Nonprofit Network, sponsored by Stokes Auction Group. We are here to talk about events. Winter is here. The holidays are on the horizon.
And my nose itches.
And your nose itches.
Got it. It's okay. Don't worry.
It's cold.
It's snowing behind
Look,
us.
It's snowing
cold.
behind us. Is it snowing?
Yeah.
Why isn't it snowing?
People get...
Wow. High
I got to
maintenance
add that
mind.
in later.
It's going to be snowing.
That's an after effect. Okay. My name's Shelby Stokes.
I'm Kelly Schinfeld.
Polly Schinfeld, good afternoon.
Yeah, that's right. We are here to talk about our wonderful couple of weeks raising funds, many of which had to do with tree auctions or festivals of trees, as some may call it.
Shelby,
And,
I think it's rude
been
that you
pretty fun.
haven't, welcomed our studio guest.
Welcome, studio guests.
That's not what I said. Who is our in-studio guest today?
I got a sick child on the premises, folks.
Welcome, Addison Stokes.
Addison's here.
Addison, what's going on?
So,
She's deep in the realm of chip and potato right now. She cannot be reached at this time.
we just wanted you all to know how we just go with the flow around these parts.
Chip and
Flowing and
potato.
going.
Is that the name of the cartoon?
No.
Yeah, it's called Chip and Potato.
Yeah.
Chip and Potato is a cartoon on Netflix.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Now I want to interrupt you again. Well, it's very possible.
That's
very
very
possible.
possible.
I
But,
did
you know,
We've
that.
got plenty of evidence that it actually happens.
Funny. Sorry in
About-
advance.
About 35 episodes
Yeah.
of it. Not that we're counting episodes anymore. So here we are. We're here. We're coming into the end of the year. We have a few more Festival of Trees auctions.
She is sick.
People are having colds. Let's see. I had an event last Wednesday, and it was up in Seattle raising money for a hospital. And it was a very good night. We had a brand new team. Many of the providers in terms of event services that have been there 3 or 4 years ago were present. So it was like coming back to a traditional event that we've done year over year. Always nice to see everybody. But we've taken 3 years off, and things were very rusty because of that. We had a chair that was kind of new to the position, so trying to rework those pieces and get them all clicked together was very challenging. But long story short, guests and community showed up, and we had a record-breaking night that night. So it was a very good occasion for us.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing out there. Well, Paul, go ahead. I'm sorry. You do your.
I did a festival of trees also. In fact, I'm going to show some of the trees. So I'm going to say, as I'm sitting here talking and looking at these beautiful trees,
Oh, that's awesome.
each tree had a theme. One of them was the Great Dig. And it was actually a dinosaur tree.
Oh, very
They
cool.
had a wooden dinosaur. You can see it in that picture right there. Somebody handcrafted this wooden dinosaur. It was big. And on the top of the tree was a dinosaur head. And it was all about excavation and research and finding fossils and bones. And then there was
Pretty cool.
a Santa and Thomas Kincaid tree that was really good. I'll show you that one. Nobody's listening to what I'm
I
saying.
am. We are. I'm just saying I would have bid on it if I was there.
Yeah,
And I informed her she
It was
wasn't
cool.
invited.
And he told me I wasn't invited.
that's right. You weren't invited.
Oh,
Yeah.
you were. We are
So
listening to you.
You can see some of these trees. A lot of them have, one of them was a shed, and we ended up calling it a she shed.
I would have
But
bid
it
on
was
that.
it was a 10 by 12 shed. It was a tiki Santa shed called the Surf Shack,
Very cool.
and inside of it was a tiki bar looking thing, and you can see in the picture, all the booze is there. There's kind of a lot of booze in most of these, but I think that's a really good idea.
I would have bid on
Yeah.
that. Trust me.
And trips, we had a trip to Bali, we had a trip to Banff, trips to Whitefish Mountain, and see, yeah.
Keep it.
I wasn't out of that.
I'm not.
No,
Don't.
no, no.
ah.
But anyway, as you can see by these trees, they're just spectacular. They're awesome. We averaged about $5 to $7 a tree. We actually got a cameo from Alice Cooper.
Wow.
He came in on one of those cameos that you can get from actors and famous
Yeah.
people. And he came on the screen and says, "Hello, Helena." Or Helena. He said Helena.
Did he?
Yeah, we all started laughing. It's like,
Did
Except
somebody
he probably
think it was
said
a
it,
name?
yeah.
Did he think it was a name?
yeah.
Happy
he thought it
birthday,
was,
Helena!
Yeah, he thought it was a name. Hello, Helena.
Happy birthday, Helena.
Yeah, and it was, he mentioned Intermountain, and he talked about, all the great things that they do, and that turned out to be the best tree that we had, and it was the very last one. It was a rock and roll themed tree. In fact, I'm not sure if I have a picture of that one. In fact, I don't, so forget I just said that. Anyway, it was a good night. We had a great fun to need. We had 2 MCs. It was, we talked about MCs this year.
Yep.
We had co-MCs. It was a fun night. It was a good night. It was cold in Helena, Montana, but I don't care. I love the people there. I've been there for almost 10 years now, so super fun to go back. I was glad.
That's pretty neat. Yeah, it's nice to kind of return to some sort of normalcy, with a lot of these organizations. And I know that going over to Helena has been something that you've had the opportunity to do for a couple of years now. And yeah, nice to be back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, it sure was.
Yeah.
It sure was.
For sure. Pretty trees.
Gorgeous trees.
Gorgeous trees.
Themed trees. We talked about themed trees last week.
Yep.
How important it is to get the different themes to, appeal to a broader audience.
How does it feel to be a rose in between 2 trees?
So great.
You had a couple epic nights as well, right?
I did. We did. My husband, by the way, is amazing. I just want you guys to know that.
I think you've mentioned that a time or 2 on this podcast.
He's amazing. I like him a lot. We were up north and had an absolute record-breaking night. It was awesome. I guess part of the reason I say that on a podcast is to both nights were record breakers. Both nights had beautiful trees, and both nights were medical foundations. Yours was medical.
Yep.
Yours was medical.
Correct.
And I think what for me is the most heartwarming about it is, yes, the energy of the night is great because you broke a record for that organization. But what it's telling me is that community, so you don't have to be quiet. Come on aboard there, little one. What you don't have to think about is that just scared it out of me because of Addison. So anyway, we're going to back that up, and we are not editing this. This is we're doing this.
We're doing it live.
What I'm trying to say is that by us raising the amount of money that we're raising and people breaking records shows that communities are really feeling the need to give to medical foundations right now. That's where it is. Sorry, had a little bit of a fog.
Gotcha.
And I think that's something that driving my mom actually to the cancer center this morning, I realized that, wow, you know what? Medical foundations really parked it this year.
Yeah.
They
agreed.
really did.
Mhm.
And there should never be a time for a medical foundation to struggle. But I think sometimes in our better times when things are just floating along great and there's nothing in our face, maybe we put medical foundations in the back of our brain. So I'm proud of the medical communities. I'm not proud of the pharmaceutical companies. I think those suck. But, and that's the truth. But I am proud of our medical communities in that, you know what? They rallied their people this year. And the festivals have nothing to do with auctioneers, though these are the best auctioneers sitting here, plus my husband, plus a few more. But, I mean, we carried out what they wanted us to carry out. But the vibe and the hope was there. You know, we've never talked about religion on this podcast, and we probably are never going to unless I get into a mood or he gets into a mood or he gets into a mood. And then it could just pop up. But do remember that all a prayer is hope, right? You don't have to, just hope. These people are showing hope. And they are putting their money where their mouth is. And we came into a fall and a winter this year that I don't know about the two of you, but has blown my mind. In that times are tightening up and times are getting tough and people are saying, nope, we have hope. And here's the money to back it up. And that's a beautiful tree and that's a great idea. And thank you for this. And that's amazing. And that trip is incredible. And that's beautiful. But the only reason we're spending the money is because we're buying NICU things. We're doing life flight. We're doing cardiac care. in Seaside. We're doing things that matter, that are in people's face, and people are saying, yes, I hope, and here's the check to prove it. So I feel very warm and fuzzy to be a part of the Festival of Trees this year, and there were a lot of them. And, I think that when you're putting together, if you're watching this podcast and you're thinking about putting together a gala, have hope. When you have hope, your gala will succeed. And deliver your message of hope to every single guest that's coming. You never know what their position is. I'm getting all teared up. What's happening? Ah! But you never know what road they're walking.
Yeah.
Give them hope, man, and they'll give you money.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that is most impressive to me with the Festival of Trees push in the last month is that these hospitals are really taking on issues that are happening in their communities,
So
which
true.
make them so much more genuine. We helped with one that was like hospice focused and helping the elders transition into a later part of life. We did one that was suicide prevention and putting a light on the darkness of suicide. And there's many in between those two extremes, but essentially I'm just really impressed with the way that they have curtailed or focused these communities into whatever is top of mind or whatever seems to be the most necessary problem to solve that needs solving in the moment. And that has been very, very impressive to me.
Yeah, they're not afraid to attack it, or to address it. And knowing their community, they put together a tree that's got dinosaurs and stuff, or tikis, or what the heck ever it has. I just love these two guys. You guys, I do. But they put it together and they target it, and that's really, really important. And I'm hats off to the medical community, and hats off to all of you putting galas together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a tough time to put a gala together. I think the event that I'm helping this weekend, it's a new chair that has not done a fundraiser in about 4 or 5 years, and it's for a group up north, and it's a school-based group. But basically, all those volunteers that have been there for years are gone, and she is doing everything she can to solve every problem. I got off the phone with her this morning, and she's like, "Yeah, did you know that we needed seat covers this weekend?" And I go, "Oh, well, I guess not what you said." She's like, "I need seat covers now."
Well, you can tell her I have 120 of them if she needs white ones.
That's about half of what she needs. But it's just one of those things where there's a lot of scrambling going on, a lot of newness, and the hope that you keep in your hearts or you convey within these rooms is going to carry for years and years. And I think you need to proceed that way.
And hey, seat covers in the big picture.
Yeah.
You're going to be all right.
You're going to be all right.
Would it be fair to say that medical type organizations are better served in the environment of a festival of trees?
I was thinking
as opposed to a medical auction in the middle of the spring that is not tied to it, I guess. I mean, could that be linked directly to its success or failure?
I think that the Christmas Festival of Trees push has more to do with the community than it does the actual fundraising event. And by that I mean, you're coming to the end of the year, you're starting to reflect. Having those open houses or those previews of those trees in these different rooms brings the community together as a whole, compared to a spring event where it's strictly a fundraiser. Like, come together for one night, drink wine, talk about what needs to happen. And I think that the holiday lift or the community-based motive where you get everybody involved is much more powerful for that reason.
Absolutely.
I think that, and I think that the holidays is a really tough time for all families. Even if you don't have anything going on, right? It's a really tough time for families.
It is.
It's tough for blended families. I'm preaching to the choir there. It's a tough time for regular families that we're all born to each other. No difference. Blend, born, doesn't matter. Same problems. Friendsgivings, things like that. But the reason, Polly, I think that the festivals work, and the only reason I think they work, is that is the only time, it is one of the times of year, I don't want to back anybody into a corner, that people start saying when they sit in front of a tree, they do self-reflect. They They reflect about what they could be doing different, what they could be doing more of, what they could be doing less of, who around me is hurting that I'm not aware of.
Yeah.
And the logical piece is, I got to dump a check. Tax time's around the corner. I need a tax write-off for the year before.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Way to cap it off.
That was a sobering path to end on. Great.
Let's talk about it.
And also, the tax man's coming.
And
Bum,
the tax
bum,
man's
bum.
coming. Tax man, he's like the pharmaceutical man. Tax man, pharmaceutical man.
Paul,
They all.
I don't know if
suck.
you asked that question to answer that question, but what are your thoughts? How do you think a spring medical event compares to a fall or winter festival of trees?
I think that you're going to take the emotion
Yep.
of this time of year, of family and friends, and you're going to apply it to this event, and specifically to people who are in specific need. I have an event this weekend where it's focused on drug and alcohol abuse and families that are involved in that. That is an issue that is front and center in a lot of children's lives. We take that for granted if we've never been through that. I think, to answer your question, is to use the emotion and feeling of this season and apply it to your fundraiser for success. I think
Yeah.
it uses that natural emotion of, I love my family, I love this time of year, we're going to get together with some friends, we're going to hang out.
And that being
You
said,
take
this
advantage of that
podcast,
emotion.
this podcast should have been in August. So we need to remind ourselves of that, right? That everybody's done.
How do you mean?
So everybody's done. I mean, we're lifting up the Festival of Trees, and rightfully so. But if anybody's watching us and they're thinking about doing a festival, you know what I'm saying? This
Sure.
is the information that they need
6 months ago.
6 months ago.
Gotcha.
It's great that we're lifting it up, and this is our first year doing festivals. You know, this is our first podcast during this time.
Right.
So, you know, you're learning. We're also learning. And I'm so glad that we're talking about this because we're lifting up the organizations that have absolutely parked it. But we should probably do a podcast in August about the festivals.
Yeah, agreed. And
Good
I
idea.
think that would be very well timed. You know, in terms of this podcast in the next, month going into December, we're going to take a little bit of time off here. We're going to do kind of a fun holiday episode next week that'll come out following Christmas, before New Year's.
He's going to be Tarzan. I'm going to be Frankenstein, and he's going to be Tonto.
Tonto, that's right. We're going to do the SNL Christmas.
Will there be tequila involved?
Yes.
Okay.
Nothing like a Christmas tequila.
How white our teeth are, you guys?
But
Everybody smile.
Yay! But I guess what I want to say as we wrap this episode down, and maybe we do another 10 minutes or so, but I think really my favorite part of this end of the year season is that you really get to reflect on what's important, right? And, as we talked about the Festival of Trees and reflection and a year coming to a close, there's a lot to celebrate. And I like to normally stay on the side of celebrating, but I think that you also have to take this opportunity to reflect on where you can refine or improve what you've done this year. And I think that is really something to keep in mind as you go into the holiday months. Christmas, very family oriented, trying to focus, like you said, stressful for families. Once that stress is gone, you get into the sweet spot where you can really reflect on what you've done professionally and personally, and how to continue to improve one as well. So I really urge you to do that this fall. Think about what you've done, celebrate your successes, but also what can you do to fill your cup, fill your person, make yourself happier. And if you're financially motivated, maybe the finances work into that. I don't know. That's your own journey. But that's why I'm always excited for the holidays, is the reflection and how can we do better.
What is the most exciting thing about the holidays for you?
Christmas.
Oh, yes. Christmas.
Kelly, what is the coolest Christmas present you ever received? Do you remember?
I've gotten some incredible gifts.
Like all the way back when you were a kid.
I was going to say, I've gotten some incredible gifts from my husband. I have amazing gifts. But when I was about 6, I got a popcorn popper that was a light bulb. There was a light bulb underneath it and like a dome. And I know.
Really?
And it was a hot light bulb, and it
It was a popcorn.
You better go
popper.
delete this episode off your husband's phone before it gets released. That's all
No,
I'm
no.
saying.
It's just as far as memories go. But the absolute, and that was great. But to be honest with you, do you want to know what my best Christmas gift ever was?
Yeah,
Ever.
ever.
I don't want anybody to feel like they didn't get me a good gift.
No.
Don't worry, I won't feel that way.
Okay. My children put together for me and Mark a picture of the 5 of them. And it was the first time they came together. Wasn't that cool?
Oh, man.
That's cool.
It was in our Puyallup house. And they said, we are together, the 5 of us.
My story is going to be way more self-centered than that.
Okay.
Is it a tattoo of Santa?
On your hiney.
Remember the big wheel?
Oh, I love big wheels. Did yours have the brake where you could
No,
slide?
There was I had the big wheel,
I use your body.
and then after that, it was a couple of years after that, when I wore the wheels off of that, there was a thing called the green machine.
What is the green machine?
And it had handles like a bobcat kind of steer, and the back wheels would steer instead of the front wheel on the big wheel.
Oh, man.
When I got the green machine, that was it. That was it.
All of your siblings are watching this going, Polly got everything he wanted
Yeah.
because he was the baby. Polly was the baby, and we all got a banana, and Polly got the green machine.
Yeah.
Oh, you got the green machine. Oh, my God.
What about you?
I love that. Oh, man. Many a good Christmas. I would say probably one that's more memorable is when I got a Nintendo 64. Always been a gamer. I'm a nerd. But right in that 8-year-old, 10-year-old
Yeah.
time frame when the new hotness came out, that was a moment. That was
Yeah.
a moment. We also had a pretty good Christmas when they had the Rock Band come out. Mine's all video games.
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
yours is
but-
a video
Oh,
game.
yeah.
Do you guys remember that where everybody got the plastic instruments?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a cool season just because, you got to fire it up and play these cool songs, and then you had family coming over. And
Yeah.
before you know it, you had a group of like 4 or 5 people just jamming in the living room.
Yeah.
Oh, fun. Yeah.
Those were good memories.
What was your best Christmas gift so far? Getting unicorns.
Some unicorns.
Oh, nice.
No horses, please. I respect and
Note to
admire
self.
equestrians. I just don't know that I can
Buy
be
a
an
pony
equestrian.
for Addie.
No ponies for Addie. And before we dig this hole any deeper, let's wrap. Thanks for being a part of our podcast, joining us, following us wherever you're doing it. We do a video version on YouTube. You can catch it on the podcatcher or wherever. Appreciate you being with us this week and every week.
All right, you guys, go out, be bold, and enjoy the holidays. Enjoy your families.
Be courageous. Say it loud. Be courageous.
And go do some good.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Hey, look at you. You're a rock star.
And be courageous.
You are a rock star. I get a pony.